All right, started recording. So what's your name? Will?
Will Miller.
And
Basic as that.
where are you from?
Oregon,
Oregon.
Salem area.
And did you grow up there your whole life? Have you lived in other places?
I grew up here. I was born in California, uh, Walnut Creek, wherever, that doesn't matter. And then I went into the military for 4 years, San Diego, Camp Pendleton, and then came back, and that's it. That's my
Okay.
story arc.
And what branch of the military?
The Marine Corps.
Okay. And how long was that?
4 years, 4 months.
Okay. So a lot like my friends.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
joined. I joined just because I knew, you always want to do something better, right? But I knew out of high school, other than not having anything planned, uh, that I probably was going to be a lazy ass. Sorry for cussing. Is it okay to cuss?
yeah, I cuss all the time.
All right, that's good. All right. Yeah, I was lazy, and I just kind of screwed my future self. You know, put it on his plate is what I did.
Yeah, I did that
Yeah.
too. Um, so what do you mean something better?
Um. Well, I think overall I wanted to try and do something for the world a little bit in that aspect. Uh, find maybe better myself a little bit, and also I had no other plans. I kind of slacked it off a little bit. The whole school thing. I was too busy. You know, I don't know what I was doing. Time wasn't an issue then, I guess.
All right, well, we'll get into that, but
Yeah.
what bettering yourself? What does that look like?
uh, I think a lot of that has to do with there's a lot of issues that I'll have and I try to fight against constantly. And and then there's issues other people have and some so I think overall if people, are honest with themselves and I don't know. I wouldn't say people are honest with themselves. Need to be honest with themselves, but that's just such a
Well, sure they
question.
do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's good to better yourself. That's a good answer, huh?
Not really. So what you're saying is bettering yourself means dealing with your issues, being honest with yourself, and getting through whatever is
Looking at your own.
psychologically holding you back.
There's that. Look at your own flaws. Um, Sometimes there's always a chance to do that. I believe. Some people, you got friends or people that that you know go into something or they make decisions and then sometimes they don't consider others or they don't consider themselves. Sometimes they ignore themselves, and that
Okay.
sucks. You know, or
Right.
flaws that they have. There's flaws that people might have, which is okay, but sometimes they like to think that they don't need to fix it. Maybe it's not like it always needs to be fixed. Some flaws are okay. You know.
Yeah, that's true, man. Everyone always has flaws, and there is always something you can do about it every second of every day. Um, so, what was your what were you like when you were a little kid?
Um, when I was a kid, little kid, like five, something.
Yeah.
Uh, what I think it was the same ish, anyways. I was high energy. I was sweet. I think I always did what I was told for the most part. I loved animals, and that was about it. Maybe a little over emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of all the way the same till like high school, you know? And then things changed, you know, after like eighth grade or something. I think that was a big change for me around that time.
What happened?
Kids can be mean, and so can life. You know, I'm getting a phone call, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I had a rough life in school at times. Um, but I had a father who got into drugs, and mother was always busy at work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd go home and I'd, be trapped in a small town in a house. And I'd have friends here and there. It's not like really bad, but it almost kind of felt like uh I don't know, kids were mean. Kids, not to me, like I wasn't getting picked on every day, but there was definitely a difference between me and them, you know.
Okay.
And there's other kids that were different too, but I don't know. I guess I didn't connect with anybody on any real level, you know.
So what was different about you?
Well, I would say I was like always I was spacey, I was head in the clouds. Um, I was really nice to other kids. And, sometimes that was like, you're too open and too nice, and then other kids are just mean to you for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucks, I wouldn't say bullying though,
I
it was
gotcha.
more backhanded comments here and there, or like, why? You know, that was the
Hmm.
the biggest question was why? Why are you an asshole? you know,
Yeah, I
and which
definitely.
would make me more emotionally vulnerable. You know,
Right.
you're too nice, man. Maybe that's my wow. I was different. I was too nice.
Okay. So going back to when you were a kid, were you like attention seeking at all, or were you just bouncing around doing whatever the hell you were doing?
I may have been attention. Wait,
Or like dramatic in any way? Maybe it would be a better.
sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
I would say sometimes. I kind of, I even now I'm probably a little attention seeking, but not at the same time.
Right.
It's really, yeah. So yeah, I would say yeah.
Okay. Um, and what did you like to do when you were younger?
That's a big question. When I was younger, what did I like to do? In this, we're still talking young child or
Yeah.
high school.
Young.
Young.
Yeah.
I would watch TV and I would play video games, and uh, that's about it.
Okay.
I was kind of head in the clouds, space. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I got you. So then, going into high school, like, what were you like academically? I mean, I guess kind of what was your school life like in high school, like socially?
I think I made like freshman year was almost like a turning point for me. For some reason I learned a lot, and I started seeing maybe my issues that I had with other people, or the way I can act about it. I started to become more positive. I would shout hello to, like, I started think I thought about this like over the years, but like um how I would come up to people, I'd be more positive and more energetic, and I don't know, maybe I just found myself either way. What was your question?
Kind of like, well, how did you do, like, academically speaking? Like, how much did you
Oh, how
care
did I
about
do?
school?
Wow, I threw that off. Sorry. Academically speaking, I was doing pretty bad in freshman year. Sophomore year, I started getting a handle on things, and then something happened junior year, and then like I think it was like I had a first girlfriend, and then I break up, and then I got like really happy about that. Not happy, I was sad, but somehow I focused really well, and like I was getting really good grades,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I got in the relationship again, same one, and then like senior year, I slacked off hard,
Okay.
right? Almost as if I had something to where I could have maintained some sort of momentum, and I was getting higher grades than like the smartest people I know, like in certain classes. Not like that's a big deal. It was kind of cool at the time to
Right.
rub it in this kid's face, I have 106 in this, dude. I was just joking, I don't care. But at the end, I slacked off. I ended up like realizing or thinking that I was like going to school in general. At my dad's, I'd have a lot of leeway, so I'd sleep in, right? And then I'd go to school whenever I wanted, like the first 2 periods, maybe if I showed up, because I had a lot of freedom at my father's house. So, you
Okay.
know,
Were there any? Okay. Well, let's stick with like your social circles, like your friends. How about that kind of stuff?
all right. So you want me to go?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
Just
my
in general.
social are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have friends ish, brother, my sister's husband, right?
Well,
I'll have sorry, I'll have one or two friends here and there,
I'm
and
talking
then
about high school still, really.
oh shit,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I had some people that I motivated. They were good friends of mine, kind of, you know, um, not many. I'd have a lot of acquaintances, because I was kind of good at like keeping that kind of relationship at like a little like from a hand's distance, you
Hmm.
know, maybe because I was defensive. I don't know. Uh, I think I started to gain some sort of like I don't know, personality or what do you call that? When other people would see me, I gained this. I was kind
Oh,
of a cool guy.
charisma.
Yeah, I had charisma. I was kind of a cool guy, a little bit. I was the goofy cool guy.
Okay.
So obviously, some people would be judgmental towards me or like whatever. There's always those people,
Mm.
but I maintained this positive attitude, charisma, whatever, and then other people kind of looked up to that a little bit. And then I'd have some close friends, and I would. I remember I would get emotional over some of the things that they've done, right? But like having sex for the first time, at the time that bothered me. I was trying to, I don't know, I guess be this pure person, you
Okay.
know. Yeah. So if you have friendships, it was small friendships. Like I didn't have many friends. I did have a couple. It was almost like I'd hang out with one person at a time, almost always.
Okay.
You know, and they would sap my attention from them, and whatever. Maybe I'd spend too much time focusing on them than myself or something. I don't know.
All right. And like, what did you? Were they like all different kinds of people?
It would usually be whoever came to me.
Right.
So yeah, all different kind. Whoever, I don't know why someone would it's weird. It would just be someone would randomly come up and be interested in me, and then like, I'd respond back, and then there's a friendship or not.
So what did you do with your friends? Like, did you spend any time with people like outside of school?
Yeah, we would drive around. We would go rafting every once in a while. We would uh, go to each other's houses and just shoot, hang out.
Just talk,
That was
basically.
about it. Yeah, there wasn't like, hey, let's go play football. Let's go. Yeah, we would talk. Yeah, let's go. Whatever.
I got
We
you.
would game sometimes. Some friends would game whatever they want to do. Really, I never really could come up with anything other than what I do on my own, which you don't really always should do. You shouldn't always do that with other, you know.
Right. Um, so what did you do on your own?
I started to get into music really heavily. I started to, I would still always game. I'd know that's an addiction, whatever. Uh,
Okay.
that's, there's nothing great. Like, there's really, like, I would do things, but that's all I really did, you know, over time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I sat on my
Listening
ass
to,
and played video games all the time. That's what I did.
yeah.
But um, so like, what kind of music, what kind of video games did you or do you like?
Uh, Video games, I would just play Halo all the time.
Okay,
And then,
shooters.
then I got into other stuff. And then, you know, weirdly, Halo was like another motivation to go in the Marine Corps out of all of the places, which is really ridiculous to say
Hmm.
now, right? But it is what it is,
Right.
you know. Music at the time was rap. I was listening to a lot of Eminem. I was angry. I think like low key angry. Uh, I don't know. You know, yeah.
Okay.
I was kind of upset. You know, so
All right.
I would listen to soft, calm music that would also calm me down. I That's actually more what I'll listen to now, or I'll listen to like some sort of remix of an old song that you've heard. You know, like I can't even throw one out there right now. Whatever I'm talking about now. Now that you were talking about
Right.
then,
Well,
right?
that's whatever. So like a house remix or just like a regular remix?
Yeah, house remix. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
or
there's.
trap.
I got you. Okay, so you like kind of the dance music shit a little bit,
No, no.
or
Well, yes and no. It's
yeah,
more
no.
like that's just to hear the same song in a different way.
Gotcha.
Uh, there's a song called Bright Eyes, right? And they redo that one.
Yeah.
And there's like this cool like I don't know what they call those hook that they do, and then like it just sounds really interesting, maybe
I
a
got
little
you.
bit. I think some of that pretty cool.
Okay. So how old are you?
I'm 32 now.
32. So did you go into the Marines like right out of high school?
Yes.
Okay. So what was that like for you? Did you like it?
So I went in open contract. You know what that is, right?
No.
Open contract is when you go in and you don't have an idea or care whether or not like what job it is,
Right.
which
I
is
got you.
probably like one of the worst decisions of my life because I got the one thing, you know, I thought that it was just really hard or something. I kind of wanted infantry like an idiot, you know,
Hmm.
and the one thing that I got administrator. The
Okay.
one thing that I would never ever want to do, and I guess I had a high clerical skill. Cool. I realized, okay, maybe I'm good at reading and writing and sometimes focusing on stuff, but not really. Let's be real. I hate repetitive paperwork. You know, I hated it. So, anyways, I go in. It sucks. I'm not as into the thing as everybody else is. You know,
Okay.
like it feels like they're a little brainwashed, but you know they're not, but they kind of are. They're, you know, I don't know.
Well, there's a part of it where you have to just kind of
Like,
you gotta drink the Kool Aid if you're gonna be in the military, basically, right?
yeah, you do a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I did. I think it changed me in some aspects in that sense. You know, calling other people civilians and slightly feeling you're superior for a little bit, and then realizing afterwards that, oh no, I was just being an asshole.
Okay.
You know,
So after the Marines, what did you do?
yeah, you know that's where it gets kind of dark for me specifically.
Okay.
Um, I got out. I had some sort of like I really wanted to change my ways for the better again because I'm constantly doing this, and I ended up having uh, a fallout with my wife a little bit. I for some reason at the time I started smoking weed.
We'll pause there for a second. So your wife, is this the girlfriend you had at the end of high school?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Keep going.
Okay. So, one there. Okay, so I ended up having a psychotic break,
Okay.
right? And that I went really deep, really deep into, I don't know what it was. I went into the mothership or whatever. I don't know what. I I started thinking some really crazy stuff, about the world, and I made a lot of weird connections. I wanted to be celibate, and that like really messed with my wife. So my wife was dealing with me dealing with this. Maybe she was kind of going through it herself somehow too. I don't know. You know, Obviously not as bad as I was, right? But she said, having that secondhand experience. Anyways, we ended up she ended up leaving me, and it was pretty hard. It was
Okay.
really rough on me, and so not only did I have to recover from her leaving me, but my psychotic break. Um, yeah, that got really weird. Anyways, uh, for the past like couple years, I started getting VA disability, and I
Hmm.
kind of rolled on that, and I was so I was on disability, uh, crushed, my soul destroyed, for being left. Man, I was rough. I was probably another person I'd never seen before when she was leaving. I was mad. I don't know what I was. I was mad and desperate and sad, whatever. It
Hmm.
was bad, really dark. But anyways, uh, so over the years, I was trying to recover from both those things at the same time, and part of it was like I was really in my head, and sometimes I still am. Actually, I always am. But whatever. I went back and I went to work on like a logical reason as to what I was seeing because I was believing some things. I saw some things. I don't know if I saw some things, but my mind went somewhere, and I've been logically trying to figure out what I was believing.
So is
You
this
know.
stuff that, from your current perspective, was like definitely not real?
Oh no, it was real.
Okay.
So I was like, it was. You know what solipsism is? I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, but not. It was uh yeah, I don't know, man. It was really crazy. So now I know that maybe in a sense I was right, but not at all at the same time. I think there's some things that I discovered in my own belief system that I think I kind of created it myself. I'm not really sure, but there's some things that I understood after, like I can't smoke weed. Let's
Okay.
just say
Yeah.
that.
Seems like you didn't respond well to that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I'll try it every once in a while, and I'll start making connections really fast, and maybe in some sense those connections make sense. Back then, no, it didn't, kind of.
So what
But
are we talking, like conspiracy theories, or like are you hesitant to go into any detail about this?
not hesitant. It's just really cloudy when I talk about it about back
Okay.
then. I was something special. I thought that it was. I guess there's a big old cloud, right? And I guess that I've been slowly trying to map it.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of things that like went into this overall structure, and when that hits your non-assuming brain, you'll lose your mind maybe. But so now I'm kind of reworking my own little theories about life and reality and all this other stuff.
So like the general nature of reality.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I like if I was trying to explain what happened then, I won't be able to explain it to you. But like now, I have a little bit of a well, I have a grasp on some things, on some theories when it comes to how I see the world.
Well,
And then there's obviously some stuff I can't explain
can you give me
right now.
a bit of like a generalization of something that you could explain?
Okay, it's so crazy to define. Okay, so what I'm talking about exactly is it's crazy because I was trying to write a book 4 years ago. So like if I were to define like, are you trying to see what I believe exactly or?
Not necessarily what you believe. I mean, I guess that's going to tie into it, but just basically, what the hell are you thinking about in general?
A lot. It's a lot. Well, that's in general. It's hard, but I guess overall, I guess there's this theory that I'm trying to work out. I think I already have it, but it's the overall outer parts that I'm trying to define. But in general, well, not in general. Uh, it's really weird because I could just define to you some of the things I believe,
Well, sure
right?
then.
Oh, okay. So I like overall, I believe that we're one being,
Okay,
right?
now we're
We're all
getting
one
somewhere.
being. Uh, it's hard. It's crazy because I'll work on this. I'm rusty, right? I've had kids.
Okay,
The stuff I've worked on is so now this is all working in the back of my mind. If I sat down and wrote it, that's what I need to do. That I've been on vacation lately,
okay.
trying to just deal with my kids and everyday life. Uh, but so we're all one being. Um, God, I thought about this conversation ahead of time too, and I had better things to say. You know, whatever. Okay, just give me a second. Let me figure out what I'm trying to convey here. I don't even know if I think I'm going to try and convey anything. Oh, okay. So my overall frustration and something that I'm working on that maybe I want the world to know is like uh, nothingness itself, right, is a contradiction, right? And life itself is not a contradiction. There's other things I want to convey. I'm only saying one little point of a big old whatever.
Okay.
But anyways, what, has anyone seen nothing? Has everyone, what color is nothing? Some people would say it's black, but it's not, right? Uh, oh man, it's such a big thing. We got 24 minutes. I'm just
Yeah, I
throwing a
got you.
small
Well,
thing out.
like, you could say black, but it's the absence of light,
What,
right?
nothingness or black?
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
black.
yeah, yeah. If we're talking about actual nothingness, like the vacuum of space or something.
Yeah,
I'm getting a phone call now. Okay. Anyway,
yeah.
um, okay. So you don't think there's any like holes in reality? Is kind of what you're saying.
What? Holes?
Yeah, where there's just an empty space.
It if there is, right, it's non-experienceable,
Right.
experienceable.
Okay.
So there probably is, but that would be like a form of like a portal. Like if you were to pass out, or let's say you were to die right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, starting off, so we know that something cannot come from nothing, right?
Right.
So we're here though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you know, if you were to die, and let's say you were to come to life thousands of years from now, whether it's the same you or like in another reality as a baby or whatever, for you, no time would have passed, or you would have
Right.
been aware of the
Well, it's
past.
like
So
going to sleep and waking up, right?
yeah, time.
Right.
So I work with that stuff. It gets into time travel. It gets into other things. It's at some points it's not complicated. In some points it is to where I can't even explain it on a whiff.
I
But
got you.
like, I would work on one thing where there all the major religions, there's gods, right? And those gods usually have one trait, and that's, you know, the major ones at least. They're omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. And you're aware of those, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah. And, you know, they couldn't, the only thing that could be all those things, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, is consciousness itself, which, you know, omnipresent would mean everywhere at once, omnipotent, whatever on that one. That's, I think, you can't really die and power, you know, whatever. That one doesn't matter. But the omniscient part is there's nothing you do not know,
Okay.
right? You know everything, which means you also know how to not know things. You know how to, you know some things, but you don't know some things because you got to know that too.
Right.
You know, you got to know, you also got to know how to be Spacey and live in his life as Spacey. And you also have to be Will Miller. You got to be every single thing if you got to know everything, right? So, I mean, it's in that point, it's almost using that logic against it. It's like, well, by that definition, either your God isn't omnipresent or he's us too. And that would make us
Okay.
all one being,
So
you
you're
know,
talking
etc.
about like a universal, ever-present consciousness kind of thing, then.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I could have just said that.
Right. Oh, wait, we got a connection issue here.
But
There we go.
we got some delay.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. So getting back on topic a little bit, as far as typology goes, how long have you been into that? Where did that start?
I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago I first heard of it. Back in 2013 I first heard of it, whatever. But I got into it. I did my test. I got INFJ or INFP, and then, you know, because I did the test multiple times.
Right.
So I went back and forth. I would listen to some videos. Some videos you're like, well, does this guy even know what he's talking about? Because all of this is conflicting information, you know. I went back and forth. I went back and forth. And I was like, I don't know. I got other stuff to do. I got normal life. Knocked on my door. And then I kind of got into it, you know, last week. So,
Okay.
you know, when I would learn some things. I would understand some things about certain types. And you know, I would get the cognitive functions a little bit. I went through each letter, you know, for myself. I think it was more like I can't understand this thing unless I understand myself in it first, because I'm just going to see myself in every single type, and I'm going to get it all diluted. And then not only that is yeah, whatever. I'll get it all diluted. So
Okay.
maybe I'll even make excuses to say I'm one type or another, just because, you know, I could do that sometimes. I can embody some things.
Right.
It's just assume. I think everyone can do that actually, but
Gotcha. So have you been like researching a lot at all? Like, did you go and learn about the cognitive functions and read a bunch of shit, watch a bunch of videos?
I
over the
watched a
years?
bunch of videos I like crash course myself.
Right.
And maybe over time, like while I'm, you know, working outside or whatever, I'll have my headphones in almost constantly, always listening. I'm listening to a lot of things at once. But when it came to the cognitive functions, I would listen to something here and there. So I'm not too versed, but I know a little, like enough. You know, when you say I know you mean intuitive. You know, I. But when I'm only like more versed on like the introverts types.
Mm.
You know, but then again, it doesn't. Who knows? Someone could be a very damaged extrovert, right? And they look like an introvert. I don't know. You know, at a
Well,
certain point.
you don't even have to be a damaged extrovert to look like an introvert, I don't think.
Right.
But for me, a big thing that people probably need to be aware of is when you're talking about this stuff is the difference between like the colloquial meaning of introversion and extroversion, which is usually more of like a big five definition, which is basically you're socially extroverted. There's the implication of interaction between you and other people.
Right.
But here we're
Or like,
talking about cognitive extroversion,
right.
which basically
Just
meaning
like judgment.
like
Just
what?
like judgment. Like if there's like a judgy person versus,
Right, exactly.
what judgment. Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I cut you off
no,
there.
you're good. Um, so there's basically at the end of the day, the only function that's inherently social in any way I could say is extroverted feeling. Uh, Otherwise, pretty much any other extrovert could technically be a kind of person who doesn't necessarily like spending time around other people because that's not necessarily what they're after. Um,
Right.
a lot of the time, like a lot of extroverted thinking dominants, for example, get really frustrated with other people and could largely do without them. But they usually also understand that they can't avoid it. Um,
Yeah.
and extroverted sensing dominant people, usually what they're after leads them into, other groups of people. Um, but again, they aren't necessarily interested in that social aspect of things.
Mm.
But at this point, like, what is your best idea of what type or types that you think you could be?
Honestly, no idea.
No
I could
idea.
just be convincing myself, but like just really because it sent me down that way because of the test. I know now, like after like I guess from hearing what would people say on like some negative things on each type, I did dance around INFP, INTP, INFJC. I don't really know, right?
Okay.
But I probably know I'm not an INFJ. I don't think I'm a J at all.
No.
Yeah. So I guess I just know that I'm not a J,
Okay.
right? I could settle on that. The T and F mess with me a little bit because sometimes I can get very focused on what is right and what is wrong. And sometimes I feel that I can have no feelings, but I do know overall I do. So whatever. That I don't know. See right now
Right.
I just don't know.
Well, when
I
it
just don't know.
when it comes to like right and wrong, for example, like what do you mean by that? Or can you give
Well,
any
so
relevant examples of when
what
you
is or isn't
of when you may have been concerned with such?
with? Well, sorry, right or wrong is in like correct or incorrect.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what you mean.
That's what I was meaning.
Yeah,
Correct.
correct or incorrect, like factually speaking.
Yes.
Okay.
So I remember I actually watched part of a video. I watched one of your videos, and you were talking about how feeling is less to do with feeling, but more like poking around. Or is that what you were meaning by that? When someone's like feeling like they're throwing out their, um, I don't know, they're taking shots in the dark maybe until it hits, or
Uh, I mean, not necessarily.
more like it's not hit. It's not motivated by emotion specifically.
That is true.
Yeah, so like once you said that, I was like, oh well, now I really don't know, and
Right.
I already didn't know. So
Well, because it's again, they're all cognitive functions.
yeah,
Oh, wait a second. There we go. So yeah, there's no way that any of them can, technically speaking, can jump right out of your emotions.
right,
They're all conscious, cognitive process. I guess at least assuming they're in certain positions in your function stack and whatnot. But as far as taking shots in the dark, that's probably more intuition than anything. But
yeah,
that's not
yeah,
even
okay,
necessarily true because it's all, again, even if it's intuition, it's still based on real sensory data at some point in the process.
right,
So again, like you said, you can't get something out of nothing,
yeah.
even if you're, an introverted intuition dom or something. Um, I
That
mean,
was the other one, intuition too. I think I'm more of an intuitive. versus censoring, but I don't know.
Well, I thought for a while that, I mean, you seemed like you were a censor of some kind. I was thinking some kind of like ESP, like maybe an ESTP or an ESFP. But when it comes to what you actually spend your time thinking about, uh, that's starting to seem less likely. Um,
I do think about other things too. I mean, I put that all on the back burner for 5 years. That's why I'm
right.
rusty. You know, when you tell me it's like
I gotcha.
it's there, I'm working on it in the background. I'll write something later, but like when you got a 5-year-old, you know, when you got I had a 1-year-old. I've been out of it for like 5 years, focusing on my kid and
Well, sure
other
enough. I
things.
mean, that's a good thing though. It means you're not like a deadbeat father,
Right?
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I could be. You never know. Night, you know.
well,
Don't knock me trying.
right. I guess
No.
it's still possible. I'm not gonna sell you that
Yeah,
short.
yeah. The
Um,
dream.
so I guess what have you been doing with your life? I mean, assuming you got remarried at some
Hmm.
point and then you had your kids with that person.
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
it was. We did that whole thing. Um, I ended up just getting an increase on my benefits. Like they put me up to 100 because they wanted. I don't know why. Really, they just boosted it. So right now I'm like looking. Right now I'm not allowed to work. As in, if I work, I'll lose the benefit. So it got me locked in this place where it's like, well, do I lose my benefit and then like try and work at Subway, which I would never want to do, or or do I ride on this and try to figure something out?
Okay.
That's what I try to do. I don't. I feel a little bad. Yes. Do I not? Yeah, I don't care either. It
Well,
is what it
yeah. I
is.
mean, it's hard to feel 100% good about that, but it's not like I guess some people would judge you, but I wouldn't.
Yeah. Right.
Um, so I mean, has it been a really long time then since you actually like weren't on your VA benefits? Like,
It's been a while. It's been a
okay,
long while. But with that, I got a house, and
okay.
you know, it's- I've been spending it wisely. I've been kind of helping other people on the side. You know, I've been slacking off too. Feel bad, but
So as far as productivity, like, what do you try to do with your time?
it's really weird because sometimes my something will, like I'm in my head a lot. So it's really weird because like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll have a plan, but there's this giant cloud, almost like a storm of facts and thoughts, and I almost want to make a decision. I almost want to figure something out. I have dreams, I have hopes, I have issues about the world. I have, something's going on in somebody's life, or somebody said something that upset me. Whatever that is, I try to wade through that. But I'll try to be productive. It's kind of hard sometimes, though, and sometimes I don't do anything. You
Okay,
know, um, but overall, like I worked on a fence,
okay,
for a couple. Like I'll be very like uh, I'll try to clean up the area around me. I'll try to do something big in my life to like make it more autonomous for myself, I guess. So it's a little bit easier to deal with, so I can focus on what I'm lacking, which is productivity.
okay.
So I'll do something very productive, or I'll do something, but I take too much time on it because I'm kind of a perfectionist in a way. So when I'm sitting there building a fence, what have you, I didn't have a fence in my yard, and I'm like, some of the fences were falling, and it's expensive to pay someone. So I went and I got, what do you call those? I can't think of the word right now. It's like really cheap boards.
Particle board,
Not particle board, but the stuff that they use to put onto
plywood.
not plywood. Like when they put why can't I think of this word? it's they put stuff. They use the boards to move. Why can't I think of whatever? It's cheap
Pallets?
wood. Pallets. I made a
Okay.
pallet wood fence, but it's a big fence, and it took me forever. And I'm a perfectionist on it. Whatever. It's that took up a lot of my time for like 3 years. No joke. Obviously, other life things, but there's smaller boards. There's more. Whatever. I don't even know why I'm getting into the fence right now.
Okay. Fair enough. Huh.
Whatever. I get. Yeah, I do things. I feel bad because I know I'm not productive, but I think I'm waiting for something, or there's something mole in the back that I'm going to find out. I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes people take up my time and it throws me for a loop. And then so I'm like almost like in this weird cycle.
So how do
You know?
people take up your time?
Uh so let's say I go to help somebody do something, and then they want something else, and they want something else, and they want something else, and then this person too, and then this person too. And then it makes me feel after a while that I'm not meeting my own needs, right? And but they don't. It almost feels like I do have an issue with saying no, right? I do have an issue with uh I don't know, I guess saying no,
Okay.
or stopping something, going, hey, I got to go work on my own things, dude. You work on your own things. I have an issue with asking other people for help too. you
Okay.
know I'm more of like a I do me, you do you. If you need help, let me know. you know I don't want to inconvenience anybody, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. At this point, you're not exactly the most clear cut example of any type that I would come across.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm feeling ENFP,
Okay.
all things considered.
All right.
I've definitely been getting like EP vibes from you the whole time. Although from where you're sitting, maybe it's hard to consider that you're extroverted.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do kind of see that. Well, I do know that I come out as extroverted. I do like a lot of time by myself, but that, maybe I don't know. Maybe that's because I've had a really rough life or something.
I mean, that's
You
part of
know?
it. I mean, a lot of NE DOMs, like I say this all the time, the internet is the worst thing ever to happen to NE DOMs because sitting there on your computer and it gives you like endless shit that is technically outside of yourself that you can interact with, and it can satisfy kind of that extroverted, whatever that extroverted intuition is seeking, without you actually ever having to leave your fucking room.
Yeah.
And that's how it is now. um,
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
I could. Well, I do. Like I never really looked into the E's,
right.
or I was like, okay, I need to decide between eight. That's easy.
But
And then so maybe, when I looked at each one, I'm like, I'm not that. I'm not that. I sound like an INFP, but I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. And then ENFP, maybe. I haven't looked at that one.
not
So,
really. I mean, you definitely don't come off like an INFP. If you go look up,
yeah.
like there's a woman I typed as an INFP not too long ago, and if you go look at that video, I mean, I think you even commented on it. There's a pretty
Maybe.
striking difference, even though you could call ENFP and INFP are basically like sister types. They mostly share the same functions. They probably have a lot of the same experiences, but
Right.
in terms of how just energetically on a base level, you're going to come off completely differently.
Right.
Um, but it's I think it's part of the reason you may have gotten INFJ, for example. A lot of people who get INFJ or INFP and they're switching between them, I think they're ENFPs a lot of the time because you are leading with intuition, I think.
Yeah.
But you're not a J. You're working with NE and FI. And so I think your dominant experience is going to be an intuitive one, and it's probably hard to pick apart, what introverted intuition looks like and what extroverted intuition looks like. And then if you're just self-reporting on an online quiz, that's basically just not reliable at all.
Yes, yes.
But I mean, that's the vibe I get from you. Is you definitely have that, whether it's any or whether it's SE. Although any usually looks more like this. You have that scatterbrained thing going on where you can't seem to pin anything down or really pick anything apart or delineate anything.
Yeah, when I'm what do you call that? Even right now, when I'm watching somebody else, or when I'm listening, or when I'm disagreeing with something, or when I'm by myself writing or something, it's a different process. But I do know, like, when it's one-on-one, you and me, and you're like, hey, say this, I know it's very scatterbrained, but it's weird because when I'm doing these tests, I do the thing that I know inside how I think, right, where it's more direct. It's really weird how it's different.
That's exactly it. Inside how you think, that's more or less, that's introverted feeling. And that's still an introverted judging function. And just like introverted thinking, it produces somebody who thinks a lot and maybe thinks very specifically and kind of obsessively about certain things.
Yeah.
They're definitely very kind of like really digging into shit. And I'm sure a lot of the time when you're on your own, and any extrovert can be like this, you're basically going to be into your introverted functions. I mean, probably not so much your introverted sensing, but there will be times where that's probably what comes out and makes you seem so kind of anal and perfectionistic, especially in combination with your FI or your TI, whatever that might be, because you take an introverted judging function, you mix it with introverted sensing, and you're going to be extremely particular about things. Introverted sensing is going to be really particular, especially about physical things, like getting that damn fence right. Especially with TE in the third slot. It's like I have to do this correctly.
See, this makes sense to me. What you're saying sounds more functionally correct. When I was listening to other things, I was like, kinda, but no, So that's where I was at this hang up, because I do feel like I can use this to maybe understand it a little bit more, so I understand myself a little bit more. I know it's not a scientifical fact, but there's enough weight behind it to do something with it. It's still a tool, to understand. So.
And for me, actually, I've never really had to question too much about what my type was, because it's just been constantly reinforced by every other person and kind of source around me, more or less. So, I've tried to be like, well, maybe I'm this type, but it never really panned out.
That's funny.
And for me, it was a lot easier to understand other people first, and then that would help me understand myself. So it's interesting how we're kind of reversed on that. That could just be like a TI versus FI kind of deal.
Right. A little dance.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's the best I got. We can probably spend a little more time before I leave if you have any more questions. Otherwise, you can feel free to text me or email me if you think about something later. But
yeah, I think you covered it. I wouldn't know what else more you would need, or you're locking in, or maybe it's still slightly up in the air. I mean, I know there's no definitive thing anyways,
right,
for this whole thing, but I think, since I haven't looked into it as much, and I never thought I'd be an extrovert in any sense, just from the colloquial terms, right? Did I say that right? Whatever.
Yeah.
I guess I would. I really think that this is better for me. Holy crap, man! This is crazy. I think that you did a fair job with my back and forth. I haven't been like this in a while. This happens to me sometimes. Sometimes I'm more direct, but I guess when it's talking about myself, I kind of lose my own mind. So, because I don't usually talk about myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's. I think that's a big part of these sessions is just giving people an opportunity to talk about themselves by itself is kind of an
Yeah.
important thing, I guess. Sometimes it plays out more like a therapy session than a typing
Yeah, right.
session, but that's all I can really do, right? Yeah, is just try to clarify things for people and try to explain this stuff that is really not easy to explain in an easy to digest way.
Yeah.
Um,
And it is a therapy because people are focusing on themselves, and then you know you are telling them kind of what type they are,
right.
and from there well, it's a self therapy thing too, and that would suck if someone were to come across this like it's a horoscope and then just go, oh, I was typed as this is what I am, and then like they listen to the YouTube videos, those what are 10 things, and
Yeah,
you're typed up, and
I
they
can't
walk
stand
around
that.
and say,
Don't even get me
you
started.
know, it's sad. So that's what I always thought. I was like, oh, maybe I'm doing this. I don't know. You know.
Right. I'd say if you're gonna go look at stuff, a couple of my favorite guys are Michael Pierce.
Michael
He
Pierce.
does great videos about the types and the functions. Although these days he mostly talks about philosophy. But and then also there's this guy. What the hell is Co- cognitive personality theory? I think he calls it CPT. He's like
Okay.
a British guy who does some pretty good videos about the types and also comparisons between two types if you're confused and that kind of deal. Um, but yeah, I mean, with the information I have and only having an hour, yeah, I'm kind of zeroing in on ENFP for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to take more look at it, but I feel comfortable with it. It feels right because I have no idea what I'm talking about, and you at
Yeah.
least have more of an idea, way more. So,
Well,
you know,
like you said, it's harder if people are like already coming in like fairly convinced that they're such and such type, and then I'm telling them that they're something else.
right.
Um, you know.
Well, there's like that INFP, especially when it's those. I remember you did a video with someone else. We're like, oh, fuck, I thought I was an INFP. I thought I was special, right? Like there's a
Yeah.
little bit to that. It was like, I was like, what does that even mean? You know, but I know I could see some people getting a little torn down from that, or like whatever other type they think
Yeah,
is like,
well, they put a lot of stock in that when if you're trying to figure out who you are, and this is your way of figuring out who you are. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard. Uh, I
yeah,
it despite the fact that I'm like a pseudo professional about this. I mean, you can't you can't put everything about who you are into what type you may or may not be.
yeah. It,
It only makes
it's
things harder.
Yeah, I've got a lot of cobwebs and I need to wipe them away so I can work on something. Because when I do work on things, or when I do stuff, when I have my mind set on something, I can do really good, whatever. But you know, some people like me are kind of lost without any direction. I can go in circles doing nothing, and
Yeah.
I don't like doing that. But I could do it happily, but I don't want to. You want to get better. You want to, whatever. So
That's a big part of extroverted intuition, man. You can go in circles forever in your mind, and it makes it really hard to be productive. Um,
yeah,
I will say, uh, ENFPs do often have a certain charisma that you seem to possess. Like they can be really good with people. Their extroverted feeling is kind of surprisingly good sometimes. Especially even compared to like an ENTP who usually rub people the wrong way a little bit more. Um,
yeah.
you know, ENFPs are really good with people, especially like you said, one on one. They're really good at understanding different people and where they're coming from, and a lot of different, humanistic perspectives, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds, that sounds right. But again,
Yeah.
well, hey, I really appreciate all you've done. I know you're moving and all that. I appreciate you making the time and all that. You got that payment, right?
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
just making
and
sure.
yeah, and I appreciate your business. You're paying me for it. I told you we'd do it at this time.
Yeah,
That's how it
hey, if
rolls.
anyone's listening, I don't know if this is be recorded, but if anyone's listening, do it. Do the thing. Get listened to. Make sure your type is your type. You can be like me, not know or assume that you might be more one. I'm not saying I am an ENFP. I don't know, but I bet you I am. So we'll see.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not always right either, but it
Right.
always I like helping people understand themselves or giving them some peace of mind or whatever. But
It's
yeah,
best to know someone outside of yourself because you could technically have a little bit of that personality of every type inside of you somewhere, right?
oh,
Laying around.
definitely, especially if we're all
So
one.
that's yeah, right. There you go.
But I am recording this. I'm about to stop, and I'm sure people will disagree with me when I upload it, and I always look forward to that. So
So have fun, guys. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It was nice meeting you,
yeah,
Spacey.
thanks, man.
Hey, have a good
Bye.
one.
Later.